This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Hey everybody, I'm Colteastwood. A little closer today. I like it. I zoomed in a little bit today. Welcome to the XNC Podcast, where we talk about games and news and celebrate the things that make us happy. Today's going to be a really fun show. We've got with us our standard. Well, he's standard. He's all right, I guess. Our co-host, middle-aged game guy. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing great tonight. You know what? I'm far from standard, but you know what? That's what you brought on. That's what you inherited when you asked me to be on the show. Either way, listen, we're going to have ourselves one hell of a show. We're going to have a great time. The chat's already hopping. Everybody, hello, I'm going to say everybody. By the way, I have some questions to answer in that chat later on in the show because some of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. We have an incredible guest. We have royalty in the house, folks. We have King David himself in the house. We got a lot of things to talk about. I'll stop talking. Take it away, King.
I'm like, wow, back to you, Chuck. Oh,
yeah.
Oh man, what's going on, guys? I can't wait to get into these topics. I talk to Colt here and there. He's super busy. But that's my guy. So hopefully I get a chance to hang out with him at this year's PAX East. That's a wonderful thing, and I can't wait to show him around because you haven't been to PAX East, have you?
I've never been there. No. King, I've never been further than Minnesota, of all places.
Wow.
I went there for a work trip like 20 years ago. That's the furthest I've been. I've never seen it.
I cannot wait for you to get there so we can show you around. And we'll have a great time. Hard Geek will definitely be there. 108 Dragons is going to be there. Hip Hop Gamer is going to be there. A lot of people is coming in. We have a lot of people from lordsofgaming.net that's going to be there. And that's where we started. That's where we made our bones at. So it's like kind of a second home to us. And PAX East is the best. Because we had fun at PAX West. But we're going to have a blast at PAX East.
Tell me the difference, if you compare PAX West in Seattle to the Boston PAX East.
Okay, so PAX West seems a little bit pinky in the air, right? It feels pinky in the airish, like they're drinking their latte, That's what it is. And PAX East, it's so down to earth, so home. Like all the cosplayers there, they have a whole annual cosplayers thing there. But all the devs that are there are super inviting, right? They let's have this conversation. Let's talk about this game. Let's do this interview. And I felt that PAX West, even though you had, and I had a problem with Ubisoft because we had a thing with Prince of Persia, and they didn't have anybody there to talk about their game. And I just felt, I felt slighted, so you know how that goes, but not at PAX East. PAX East, everybody's on their job, about their business, about their games, about their stuff. And you can feel the passion in the room as you walk around.
Oh, nice. Okay. And you said it's like, it's a whole party at PAX East because I've done PAX West twice in Seattle. And after the last year, or I guess it was September, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this again. And it was good seeing you guys. And I was actually telling Fonz's show yesterday that when I was with the Lords, Mag, get this, I was hanging out with the Lords a little bit while they walked around wearing the black shirts, the gold logo, dressed to the nines, walking through PAX West in Seattle, and they were royalty. Actual royalty. Like people come up, are you the Iron Lords? And of course, all the Iron Lords are like 9'7", Except for Cog. Cog's like our height, but he's yoked, right?
That's what you call brand recognition, because you know what? They stay consistent. They wear their product. They wear the swag. People recognize them. They all have different. They're like the Wu-Tang Clan of gaming podcasts. Each one has a different personality, but it comes together as a group, right? And that's why people follow them, listen to them. They know who they are. They recognize them. How can you not recognize King David wherever you walk? If I ever saw him like grocery shopping, I would know who he is. Right? I mean, apart from the fact that, we
it hurts our neck, Meg. It's like,
yeah, right. That's true too. I'd see him from a mile away. But the thing is, it's just, that's what it is. Brand recognition. That's what you do. And if you do, by the way, I'm going to get off that topic for a second. You guys, you guys did the New York Game Awards up on the stage. I missed it. I was so pissed. So, but how did it go? Please tell me.
Yeah, tell us everything.
Well, I'll send it to you. But
I'd love to see it. Yes.
So first, last year was our first year that we went, and we only found out about it because Phil was being honored, right? So we was like, yo, we're going. All right, we're definitely gonna get there. So we got there and we met Harold, and we had Harold on the show, Harold Goldberg, and I always mix up his name between Goldstein and Goldberg, but I remember now because Goldberg is my favorite wrestler. And so we get there, and Todd is there, Phil is there, Jeff is there. You see Reggie Fils-Aimé there. It's everybody's a who's who of what is shaking that's there, but it's so intimate. I'm talking about elbow touching, having conversation, intimate, and nobody was stuck up. It was just a vibe. It had a whole New York City melting pot feel to it. And you gotta give that to Harold. Now, what they do is they do outreach for children that's in the Bronx about video games, training them, teaching them, showing them what's going on. And we come from the Bronx, so that's stuff that's near and dear to our heart. But while we were sitting there and I'm watching everybody go up on stage, I said, next year we're gonna be up there. We're gonna be presenter. We're gonna hit that stage. And we became part of the gaming critics circle as a team on the board, and then voila, this happens, right? And as we're going up there, the crowd goes nuts. Hip hop, 108 Dragon, a lot of other people that we know there.
Was hip hop yelling there, so everyone could hear him? When you guys went up?
Of course. You already know that. Huge supporter. And we got up there and we presented the best AR VR game. And, Cog introduced Sovereign, read the body of the paragraph. Attic said and the nominees are. And,
awesome.
I read the winner. And it was just a moment to have. But the biggest moment came when Harold was like, yo, we need somebody, to protect Reggie. And, I volunteered for the job. And for the whole night, I was security for Reggie Fils-Aimé.
No way.
Yes. Somebody that I will never forget the moment that I was introduced to him when, I call it introduced to him, but he was introduced to the world on the Nintendo stage when he came out and said, my name is Reggie and I'm here to kick butt and take names. And I was just like, oh my God, he's black, right? He's black and he's the head of Nintendo. This is not real. This is not happening. This is an alternate reality. But I'm all in for it. And I mean, from the moment that he took over at Nintendo, it was a complete turnaround. Like, I don't know what mojo magic that this man had or how he galvanized the team in Nintendo, but he did. And he went on to write a book and other stuff like that. And it was fantastic things that he has done that was incredible. And for me to be standing next to my idol, for me to, one of my idols, for me to have a conversation with him. And I thought I was going to take a picture with him. I can't take a picture with you now. I'm security because I used to have a security firm. All right. So, but a lot of people got it. Yeah,
was this your first time ever meeting Reggie or seeing him in person?
No. I saw him last year at the Game Awards.
Okay.
So, but I was, it was film night. And this night was Neil Druckman's night. And I got a chance to have the conversation with Neil Druckman. And we had such a conversation because he makes my greatest video game is The Last of Us 2. And the reason why it's my greatest video game is because no video game has ever moved me to have those level of emotions. And I don't care how anyone feels about the man. I don't care how anybody feels about PlayStation. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is the man's ability to invoke a level of emotion from you, from a medium that I adore. And he did it in such a way that I didn't see it coming, right? Pause. And and I was along for the ride. My daughter was watching as I was playing, sharing in the emotion, and she had tears in her eyes. You understand? So it's this level of drama that you're able to bring to this medium. You're very powerful in your writing. And I feel that The Last of Us 2 is a seminal game because he couldn't do the stuff that he did in The Last of Us 2 in part 1. That's why when you get the TV show and you got episode 3, he flushed out Bob, and he did it in such a way that was unapologetic, but he knew the crowd that he was talking to. So now he had enough cojones to do it in part 2. I told him, I said, listen, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to ask you about part 3. I'm just fearful for what you're about to do next, because what you did in 2, you didn't care. And I hope you have that same reckless abandon going into 3, because I'm here for the ride.
Really? What do you say?
Oh yeah. He was just like, definitely. But our conversations was more about comic books, because I have a huge comic book collection. He's a huge Frank Miller fan. He has a huge comic book collection. And we're talking about Comic-Con and comic books. I'm talking of comic books to Neil Druckman, right? This is what the Game Awards does. You know, it gives you the ability to have these intimate conversations with people that either you've seen, heard about, or people, articles that you read, because there's a lot of people from Kotaku there, from IGN, from other places. Heads of Nintendo's is there besides Reggie. And then Harold himself is a wealth of knowledge. So it's a very eclectic group, but if Suede had a feel and a smell and was a place, it was this place. Like, Suede is dope. Anybody that says they don't like Suede, don't trust those people. Suede is dope, right? And if Suede was a place, it's the New York City Game Awards.
Do you have a Suede jacket with the fringe on it, on the arms?
Okay. Secret story, and I swear to God, if any of you guys out there try to use this against me, my mom's had a Suede Indian vest with the fringes.
Yeah.
And I would be, when she go to work, I would put it on and run through the house like I was from the Warriors. So, yeah.
That's for the graybeards out there who know that movie. Yeah.
Speaking of Suede and Suede luxury, how did Spider-Man 2 do at the New York Game Awards, King?
Okay, it came up butt kiss again. This game is 9-0. I mean, 0-9.
0-9, yeah.
0-9. This game has come up.
Well, 9-0, depending on where you're looking from, right?
Yeah, if you're a Sony run show, that thing will win every time. But when other people are waging a bet against it, it loses every time. I mean, I think they should have left it in the cooker. I don't like what they did to Peter itself. There's no way for you to emasculate a man if you're trying to elevate a woman. You don't have to do that. That's one thing you do not have to do. All right.
It's bad writing.
It's terrible writing, and it's a feminist agenda. The problem with that agenda is this: video games and comic books were made off the backs and eyes of young men.
Okay.
If you alienate your core fan base, you are going to lose it all. This is why Marvel is in the crapper right now. You are chasing a fan base that never wanted you, that don't need you. And if they come around for you, they were only coming because of the core. The core brought their girlfriends to the movies.
What was the last Marvel movie, King?
What, that crappy Marvels?
Hey, you know what's funny? My wife stopped watching MCU movies after Endgame.
Endgame.
She watched one, and this is a woman. This woman watched it, and she goes, "I'm not interested in this crap. I wanted to see what she wanted. She wanted to see what she wanted to see." Right? The only hope I have is Deadpool and Blade, and that's only because Mahershala Ali got involved and said, "I'm not going to be playing third fiddle to."
You heard about it. You heard about it.
Sorry, fourth fiddle. Excuse me,
fourth fiddle.
Yeah, he was going to play fourth fiddle. For those who know, you know. I read the script. I was like, terrible. You got to be kidding me. And so they canned that script, and then they started over. That's why it got delayed so much. So, now it's been rewritten.
They reshot it 4 times, this movie. I really don't have no hope for the movie. I don't have hope for Deadpool. As much as I believe that Ryan Reynolds has enough power and pull in Hollywood with his cachet and stuff like that, that was Fox. Mm-hmm. This is Disney. Different beast, different animal. And the problem with it is this. They have a complete agenda. When they lost the Russos, everybody tries to figure out, maybe the Russos had fatigue. Mm-hmm. The Russos went on to make other movies, do other shows. They didn't have fatigue. What they did was say, we weren't signing up for this agenda. So anybody else that stuck around or anybody else that wanted to partake and make these movies, they had to agree to certain things. I like the head of Disney coming out and saying, listen, we're forgetting all that stuff. We're going back to our core because billions of dollars are lost. If you do not cater to your fan base, you always got to be true to your core. If I ever come out and tell somebody, don't hold the line, run for the hills, okay, my fan base is gone. All right? Gone.
Yeah.
All right. So if I say, hey, we all can hold the line together, like, no, they don't want to hear that. That's not what it is. So you got to know your fan base. You got to play to your audience. Please get back to the audience because I am, if you have not noticed, I am a Marvel nut, right? I am a huge supporter of the Marvel universe. I know every character history. I probably know their birth date. The problem is, when you alienate us, you're going to lose because we're the ones that's teaching our children. We're the ones that's taking the family to the movies. We're the one that's dragging the girlfriend out with us. Oh, if you haven't seen Beekeeper, go see Beekeeper. With Joseph Statham. Oh, if you thought John Wick was good, this guy here, dear God.
Did you say the wrong name? Joseph Statham?
Joseph Statham, that's Chick Chilios, right? That's the guy that played.
No, you think of Jason Statham's the actor.
Okay.
And Joseph Staten isn't he the game developer?
Yeah, he's the one that worked at Bungie and Halo. Yeah. This is what happens when we get gamer brain. We're like, go check out that movie with Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond.
No, that's a long-running joke that Mr. Boomstick and I have been talking about forever. We've been saying that Jason Statham runs Bungie, so we've been making those jokes. Okay. So because the name is so similar, so we're like every time someone messes up at Bungie, he doesn't lay them off. He roundhouse kicks them out the door. But anyway, that's just me.
I just think when you cater to a 5%, the very least you lose 5% of your audience. That's going to say, you know what, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't core to. I just saw a great clip of Henry Cavill who said, no, Witcher would never do this. Like he's on the stage in front of everything. The lights are on, the camera's rolling. He's like, I'm not doing that. Like Geralt wouldn't do this. And he said he got so much pushback from directors. And he says, you have to understand, he said in this interview, you have to understand that the fans come first and they understand what is core, what's canon, what is true to the character.
You know, that's hypocrisy coming from him, especially coming from him.
It is?
Especially coming from him when his Superman is the only Superman that snapped General Zod's neck. All right, so my Superman in the books would have found a way, would have grabbed him, threw him into the Phantom Zone, or did something. He snapped his, and that's the only problem I have with that movie. And the fact that he was such a wimp that he sat there and watched his father die. Oh no, I'll stay here and let the thing hit me. Are you nuts?
The hand.
Even the emotion inside a superhuman, super fast individual that cannot be detected by the actual eye would have got his father out of the way. It is off a reflex. right? So, but you can hear Lois Lane and I don't know, 5 cities away falling off of a building, but you can't hear your mother getting kidnapped. I have problems with Henry Cavill and the writing that they had around him, but he should have stood up for Superman. You didn't. That's why you're gone. Anyway, sorry.
So they've really hurt you, King, with this nonsense. Why aren't you consulted on these movies? I'm gonna call some people.
they don't know about me.
Speaking of that,
let them know.
it's a dumb question, but you guys weren't nervous when you walked up on that stage in New York, were you?
Yes.
Oh, you were?
It wasn't nerves to say. First of all, it was confidence going up there because we looked good, we were sharp, we was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But what you don't want is you don't want that moment, right? And those moments only happen in your head. Those 2 seconds that you thought was 40 minutes. You know, the stuff in the lunchroom when you're holding your lunch tray and your milk spills over.
Yeah, like you're worried about missing that second step on the way up.
Right, you thought everybody saw it, but only you saw it. So it was that type of thing, like just don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. And I think everybody has that don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. I don't know how many times you go up on that stage, but it was just that. But it wasn't. I felt at home because my peers was there. It was just so many people that I did know that does love me, that I love them, and it was just such a good feeling to actually get up there and represent us. Because it wasn't just me up there. It was Colt up there. It was Mag up there. It was us up there. Yeah. We were up there, you know. So we're doing it to open up the doors for more people. Oh, I want to see more people there. I want to see more podcasters there. I want to see everybody showing up. I want it to be so big that they have to rent out Madison Square Garden to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
podcasters are the new Hollywood. You know, and the thing is, the younger generation, and this is where maybe it won't be us. Maybe we laid the foundation for what's going to happen in the future because, you know, we're reaching an age where we're not, I hate to say it, but we're getting to an age where we're not really marketable for the younger audience because an 8-year-old doesn't want to listen to a 55-year-old.
Right.
Like Colt Eastwood. Right. But the thing is, but the thing is the children, the kids, my kids and their generation, they're not watching TV. I mean, they are like somewhat.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's all in passing. It's all in passing, right? Yep. They rarely go to the movie theater. Maybe once a year we go to the theater to go. We'll probably go see Despicable Me 4 this year. That's it, right? Other than that, I don't think we're ever going to leave the house. Other than that, what they're watching 24/7 is YouTube, and YouTube has become the new Hollywood. And because of that, and it's become a conglomerate in itself. And so what King has done. And what the Iron Lords have done there, that's step one. And now that is the new celebrity. The new you know, like the George Clooney's and the rest of them, they're getting old. All right, they're moving on and they're retiring and this and that, whatever. The new people coming up, they're not even looking at the actors and actresses anymore because it's all just sort of like cookie cutter, whatever. They're all looking at YouTube personalities now. And YouTube personalities is where it's at and where it's going to be at. And like I said, maybe we have in one way or another, we may not be the 122 million view people that play, you know, Minecraft streams or whatever, but we are the personalities that are out there and people who follow us and listen to all of us and everything that we do in our content, my content, yours, King's content, and everything else. And then that's where it all started. And that's where it starts. And it's going to grow from there. And that's where you're going to see, just like King said, you give it a few years, you're going to have Podcaster of the Year is going to be an award at the show. I can guarantee it. There's going to be Show of the Year, 100% Show of the Year.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a list of shows. It's going to be whatever. It's going to be Iron Lords versus the XNC show, not the Xbox 2 podcast. They're not invited.
No.
But and Special Nick as well. He's not invited either. But it'll just be because I saw Special Nick in the chat. And Gaz, forget about it. No one's flying Gaz out from England, and he's too cheap to fly on his own. So forget it. But the point is, it'll be Podcaster of the Year. It's all going to be there, and it's all going to be part of it. Give it 2 to 3 years, and you watch and see. Let
me tell you who's going to jump on that first. That's Jeff Keighley.
Yes, 100%. 100%. That's what I've envisioned.
He's going to jump on it first to try to, milk and monetize it. But then, New York City Game Awards will do it. And it'll be something that's good. Neil Druckman said something funny that was up there. He was like, I don't have to worry about somebody rushing me off stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part.
The Keeleys have been infamous for there's always something crazy that happens at a show. I mean, I know people really do look at podcasts, and I watch a lot of podcasts. There's like 50 of them in this community, King.
Yeah.
And like I messaged you, I'm like, hey, I don't often have guests on, but would you come on for an hour? Because
always.
I mean, people are so busy, and there's always requests going around, a lot of shows to watch. But you have IGN, right? You have these big.
I would never tell you no.
Oh, geez, come on now.
Do you understand why? Because when I spoke to you before you even started, and I was like, Colt, you need to put your camera on, and you need to do that, and I'm there for you, whatever. And you did it, right? So that's huge for anybody that's hide behind an avatar. It's very hard talking to a camera, and I know you know it. It's very hard talking to a camera and revealing yourself because you're naked in front of the camera.
But it's so rewarding.
Yeah, but it is though, right?
It is. Like Mag and I sit here, and Mag and we've become such good friends, mostly over the show. And like when Mag and I are talking, like we're waving our hands around, we're old men, we're doing our geriatric thing, and we're making a connection together. And I feel like when you watch podcasts every week, you're sitting in the living room or family room with your favorite people hearing about games and stuff that you want to hear about. And we're super fortunate. Hit the like button if you're here and having a good time. We're really grateful to have King here, a good friend, and hopefully we can all... Nick's going to talk about how I'm an eyesight. Colt being on camera is why my eyesight is getting worse. Yeah, I'll work on being more handsome. But he was giving me a hard time about not having my glasses, but I love having contacts. I got so sick of wiping my glasses all the time, pushing out my glasses. So, yeah, I'm super happy. Let me read a couple supers here, just a couple of things. Brand Mac 31, thank you for the 5, says all's well in the house of the Lords. And Georgie with the $2, thank you. Georgie says, sorry, David, not holding the line. Xbox going third party. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
Y'all already beat us to it. I mean, I can't wait to play MLB The Show, a first party game from one of our best studios inside Game Pass. And I want you to say, go buy that. You go buy it while I go try it. And I love the fact that you will consider us third party because you're port begging. You port begging ponies always want our stuff, man. And it sucks so bad that you gotta beg us for stuff, but we don't gotta beg you for anything. You just give it over easy, and y'all gotta pay for it. Thank you for fitting the bill for me. I appreciate it.
The best part is I put up these roadmap graphics of all these games coming to Xbox. They're like, those are all trash. And then when they hear this news, they're like, but I'm gonna be playing those day one on my PlayStation. And I'm like, all right.
We
got Paul
MLB The Show.
I'll be playing MLB The Show for the third year in a row, basically for free, while they're shelling out $70 for it. Paul Rashbook, thanks for the Australian $3. He sends a couple bucks. Hey, what's up? What's up, Fonz? Say hi. What did you pocket dial me? Fonz, say hi. So every week, Fonz says... Every week, Fawn says, I'm going to call you live on the show. And I say, okay, I'll put you on speaker and you can say hi. And then this time he's walking around with me in his pants. Where was I?
Well, that's yep. Well,
that's how it is.
Yeah, that's right.
He could have been kidnapped. And he's like, wait a second, I can talk too loud.
He's in the trunk breathing. Help me. Help me. Yeah. And we're laughing.
I do get the calls from Fonz late at night. It's like,
You like hot fudge sundaes? All right.
Matthews, thank you for $2.50 super chats. He says King is a fan of Druckman, and he didn't know that. The other one is King David. What about the agendas in The Last of Us 2? I mean, you want to say something?
Yeah. The agendas in The Last of Us 2 is fantastic. I saw the agendas in The Last of Us 2, but those agendas was to push the story narrative. They weren't overbearing agendas that were meant to... You had strong male role models in the game. Mm-hmm. And those strong male role models will continue to persist. Now, if you had strong female role models in that game, those strong female role models was there at the detriment to what happened to the strong male models in their lives. So they had to step up in that world. But remember, don't forget that world is male dominated. All right. So look at the world, look at what it is. It just showed that the women lost the strong men in their lives and they had to step up. It sucks that they were going against each other, but look at it. And if you're talking about one of those agendas, that wasn't an agenda. That was something that was put in there as a story plot for a particular character. Now, maybe that resonated with a lot of people. And I know a lot of you're probably one of those people that didn't like the story, one of those little side quests that was in Spider-Man that had to do with the boyfriend and the stuff.
Yeah, my boyfriend thanks you, or stuff like that, right? Sure.
I saw that, and it's unfortunate that we play video games and we can have a story that is not malicious. It's not malicious in any sense of the word. You're not seeing anything that is overly advert. You didn't see anything, overly sexual, anything of that nature in that you either heard a story, saw a story, or were part of a story. And some people didn't complete the mission, or some people had a problem with that stuff. What I would say is a deeper reflection within the person. And you have to take time to figure out what triggers you the most about that. And if you do that reflection, I'm pretty sure that you will look at the game in a different light.
Okay. I know I would disagree on The Last of Us 2 isn't my favorite game. I'll never play it again just because I don't have a problem with those things that people complain about. That wasn't even my issue. My issue is the way the game made me felt. It was by design to make you feel super uncomfortable. I would regularly go in the house from playing a long segment of Last of Us 2 and just look at my family and go, my gosh, good thing you guys are so happy, and whatever I'm doing in there is completely depressing. That was just my takeaway from Last of Us 2, and I played it, for 2 weeks until it was done at launch. So, Dean Rivera, thank you so much for the $5 super. General King, does Attic really play his Switch laying on his stomach with his feet in the air, laughing?
What the hell was that?
With the door open. With the door open.
With the door open, feet in the air. Yeah.
Yes. That's he plays the Steam Deck like that.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Wait till he reaches our age. He won't be able to stand up after doing that. I do my ab workouts, and I'm like, I think I'm a king still. Right? I think I'm Stallone in like 1985 in Rocky IV, training in Russia. And then when I try to stand up, I'm like, yeah. And then it takes me like 10 minutes to get up off the ground. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not Balboa anymore. Yeah. But anyhow,
the floor is your enemy.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Hey, before
don't worry, you'll get there, buddy. 20 more years.
Damn it, gravity.
Yeah.
But before we jam into the topics, I'm going to take a minute. Meg and I have a new sponsorship with Manscaped, and we've got the new, I don't know if you have yours by you, but we've got the new Lawnmower 5.0, which will shave like crazy. And I'm going to do this ad read here and we'll move on. It's, as we get older, some of the hair on our head may start to go away, but it doesn't mean that we can just keep on growing elsewhere. Manscaped is a waterproof trimmer you can use out of the shower, and it helps reduce danger to your danger zone. And it's in the delicate place that are below the hard deck. The trimmer is sleek, it's cordless, it's chargeable by USB. You can plug it into your computer or Series X and charge the Manscaped trimmer. And it has three different attachments, so you can get, short hair or very short hair. And, XNC has 2 smooth foreheads on the channel, don't we, Mag?
Obviously. And the thing is, actually, I bought one of those multi-chargers for my PS5 because I'm a pony butt, right? Obviously. And what I do is I actually like to shave while I'm waiting for Call of Duty maps to load up. So before you get your skin rifle on the battlefield, you better get that Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 and get using that every single day, folks. Let me tell you something. Spring is coming faster than you think, and you better be shorn. You better be smooth. You better be ready, because the spring is time for loving, time to make babies, time to make families, time to get the economy going. Let's go. Get some Manscaped. We got Father's Day coming, Mother's Day coming. Let's get out there. Let's get out and start buying this product.
Valentine's Day too.
And Valentine's Day's coming too, and nobody needs to be trudging through anybody's garden. Everybody should be able to walk the path clearly. Now, that being the case, Colt, please tell them about any kind of promotion or anything we got for Manscaped this time around.
It's really easy. You can use the promo code XNC to get yourself one of these for 20% off, and that promo code, just go there and write in the promo code XNC, and that'll get you a discount, and you can shave, because it's clinically and scientifically proven you can run faster when you have less friction down there.
That is 100%. And hey, think about swimmers. Swimmers shave their whole body so that they can break those world records. You know what? We want you to break world records in bed, but not in that way. We don't want you to be the fastest, but we want you to be the smoothest. So everybody, make sure you buy Manscaped and keep them coming. Guys, use the promo code 20% off. That you can't beat that. You can't beat 20% off. It's absolutely incredible. So if you think about it, and if you want to buy something even for someone's birthday later this year, buy it now. You'll get that 20% off, and you'll be able to have it, and you'll have a great time, and you'll enjoy it. Everybody, Manscaped. That's right, Manscaped.
Thanks, Meg. I appreciate that. King, should we get back to the gaming talk? Let's talk. I want to ask you about just briefly about the AAA games are leading the world right now. Everyone's talking about Pal World. It's kind of been a full week. I don't want to talk about too much, but is there a AAA bubble that's about to burst in the games industry?
I don't think so. I think that everything has its place and everything is necessary, right? So when we have these anomalies like Power World that pops up and nobody can predict it, those are necessary and those are needed. But we need to AAA bangers. We need those games that actually, push the exclusives and push the narrative forward, those things that we look forward to. We love those welcome surprises. Welcome surprises is always fantastic that comes around, and it keeps you digging. It keeps you grounded because you don't know what's going to be the next success. But somebody's working on it, every day. So, yeah, the AAA bubble now. I believe you need services to subsidize AAA. And I think the formula that Sony has right now is a broken formula. It's not sustainable. Sean Layden said that and he was out the door. So, Phil told you, and Phil is still there, but Phil told you that single player games aren't sustainable and that they're looking at the eradication of that genre at some point in time. And you flow right back to Sony, and you saw that Call of Duty was propping up all that single player stuff. And the fact that that's why they went so hard at Microsoft getting ABK, because they lost their prop. Now they have to start from the bottom. They didn't have no games last year, had Spider-Man come out, and this year they don't have any games. This year they need third party. I know you have a State of Play Wednesday. I don't expect anything but third party stuff there, no first party stuff. And the problem with that is that's not sustainable within itself. Microsoft course corrected, fixed it. So that's why you can have a Hellblade 2 that's $50 that's digital only. And yeah, some people may say that's not a AAA title, but it has a budget of a AAA title. It has a budget of, it has the look of a AAA title. You have Insomniac look over and said, we want our AAA title to emulate, to look like this. So if that's not a AAA title within itself, graphically, story-wise, sound-wise, what constitutes a AAA title? But Microsoft has found the even ground where these single-player games can be 8 hours that can live digitally inside the ecosystem of Game Pass. Sony needs that, but they're reluctant in doing that because they are fearful that their stuff won't sell. They need to get the subscription. And when the CEO came out and said, that is not viable, I said, you're a dinosaur. I'm going to miss you, but you will be an app that I can play on my Xbox.
An app, huh?
Yes. An app.
So you were talking about Wolverine, that Insomniac saying, hey, we want that AAA look, which tells me, Mag, that the AAA moniker is useless when a game like Power World destroys every game sale and kills in profit. Like, do you have a specific stance, Mag, about where Xbox or PlayStation are sitting with their AAA offering?
The thing is, King touched on it. Actually, he pretty much answered it. What I was going to say is, you're going to want to, at some point, you have to maybe rein in it a little bit in terms of the size and scope of some of these things. Like, for example, the one thing I can think of will be an absolutely perfect game is Uncharted was it Lost Legacy? No, which one was the one with the two women? Was that?
Wasn't it the DLC one?
Yes.
That was DLC, right? Yeah.
And like the Miles Morales, like bite-sized AAA, maybe like a little bit smaller, 8-hour experiences, 10-hour experiences, that kind of thing to maybe try to, you know what I mean, build some momentum over there. And then the thing is, you brought up Pal World, right? Pal World is $26 or $30, whatever, sure. Right? That's an easier pill to swallow than up here in Canada, for example. It's $100 for a AAA game now. Call of Duty, I just bought it for my son. He's never played, so I got him Modern Warfare 3 because he wanted to do something. Daddy, I want to do something with you. And I'm like, all right. It was $102.
Yeah.
Right? For the game. So, but Pal World is like $35 in Canada, right? With tax and all that nonsense. So the thing is, it's a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. The other thing is there's something a lot of people are not talking about, and it's something that's very important. It's that it's not so much that AAA games are unsustainable. I think what's happening now, and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but it's a fact. What's unsustainable are the salaries. And the size of these teams and the salaries. Now, I looked it up earlier today because there's something I wanted to talk about. Something, like I said, I know it's going to be very unpopular, especially devs. Anybody listening to this show going, Max, shut up. But the starting wages are like $60,000 to $80,000 for like the lower end of devs. $80,000 to $120,000. Sorry, this was Canadian.
Okay, I was wondering this today, Mag.
Yeah. $80,000 to $120,000 for mid-range developers, and this is as of the end of 2023. And then leaders and then higher executives are $120,000 to $200,000 each. You multiply that, even like the lowest end, $60,000 to $80,000. You multiply that by 200, 300, 400, 500 people, and then you start adding in the years. Then you start adding in paid vacation, paid sick time. God forbid, what the hell they call bereavement.
Well, there's a chargeable rate that covers all that, but you have to add in how long they're going to be working on that game in the studio under a full-time employee salary, right? And you're looking at no longer 2 years, right? Go ahead.
See, that part, I agree, but I disagree with the salary thing, is because most developers don't stay with a company longer than that one game. One game is probably, let's say, 2 years. And sometimes you can get on a project and you can be, half of them aren't full-time. So you can get on a project that, let's say it's 2 years, you're only on for 6 months, you get paid $100,000 a year. You only got paid $50,000 for that time that you was there. And then the rest of the time is you trying to find another job, another gig to get to. So I think the salaries are good. The problem is the pipeline and delivery systems is antiquated, because it's sustainable because the money is there. We know the money is there. How can we get the money out of the consumer's hands into the developer's hands and the producer's hands to keep this stuff going? That's the bigger problem, because a lot of games get worked on, don't reach their milestones, and never get a chance to be redone. And those developers that worked on them get a bad eye. Like, when you put your resume in, you worked on that game. That was a failure.
Really?
You worked on that game. That was a failure. Sure. That type of thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, Mac, but I just have a couple of developers when this stuff happened with Microsoft. They was in my take on it. There was like, you're spot on your take, but the problem is this. And I was like, I didn't know that. And a lot of them, let's say you got $200,000 for the year, but you only worked half a year, and you just moved your family out of, to the Bay, that you just paid for this house, and you're renting right now, and you're just like, my kids, like you're sitting there stuck, right? But medical is the bigger problem, so now you're paying medical out of your pocket, so it's a lot of things that go along with that whole thing. And I will always fight for the devs to have as much money as possible, because going forward, it's going to be a problem for them to get other jobs if they're not connected, to the next big, check.
Hollywood is now facing the same problems when they went on strike, everything else, looking for more money. The threat of AI, which is a monster one, especially for the gaming industry. Now, this is something. Now, hear me out for a second. Now, what King said is absolutely correct in terms of piecemeal work. A lot of it is project work. They do 6 months here, 6 months here. However, there's still a lot of full-time people that are working in these companies and in a lot of these studios. Now, that being the case, when you start talking about, I'm not going to get into the whole thing about redundancies and things like that when it comes to the mergers of, the two companies like the ABK Microsoft deal, and people came in. Obviously, if you have two marketing teams doing the same job, you do not require both. So we understand that some of that's going to go. However, under the shroud of redundancy, a lot of other things do go on in a corporation which are not as good, and they're far more nefarious. And those things are, getting rid of full-time people or moving full-time people out so that you can outsource, so you don't have to pay them benefits. You don't have to pay them vacation. You don't have to pay them paid sick leave. Tell me I'm wrong. Walmart's been doing it for decades. They only hire part-time people so they don't have to give anybody benefits. They do it up here in Canada. They do it in the United States. And the other thing is, with that, here's a thought. Now, this may be a little bit conspiratorial, but it's a thought that it's something that, being what I do for a living, okay, it's something that they probably would have asked me to do. Okay? And hear me out. What this is that it's the, when you get the layoffs, you move people out, they have the redundancies. Perfect. We can use that. We can get rid of other people. They got rid of 40% of Toys for Bob. That wasn't redundant, but maybe they move them out, they outsource. So now from outsource, eventually what you do is you replace that outsource with AI, the game testing, coloring in, 3D animations, things of that nature, right? You start doing that. And why? Because when you cut the contract with the outsources, technically you're not laying off Microsoft employees. You're just cutting off the contract. So now you've rid yourself of the blame of that situation. So now, hear me out. You go from layoff to outsource to AI. And what does this do at the end of the day? You are diverting attention away from yourself while maximizing your profit and efficiency. Okay, so you're diverting the attention away. So what I'm saying is, hear me out for a second, then I'll let you go nuts, is that you're now moving people out of that ecosystem. You're outsourcing. Now they're no longer Microsoft employees. Cut them off. You get AI in there. AI doesn't need to go on vacation. AI doesn't sleep. AI doesn't need the weekends off. AI doesn't have to be home to feed their families. They don't have to walk the dog. They don't have to do anything. They will work 24 hours a day. And if you think I'm wrong, or some people think I'm full of crap, go to your local grocery store and walk to the front where you pay. And there are 25 cash registers sitting there that used to be human jobs.
Yep.
Now there's two. There's one dude in the express. There's one lady in the other one for the 90-year-olds who don't know how to use the self-checkout. And then there's 12 self-checkouts. And what do they have at the self-checkout? They have one girl stand there like this with her arms crossed watching you do it. Right? So now you have three people. Yes.
Did you see they have the audacity to ask you if you want a tip?
Yes, it's insane.
I saw that at the Amazon self-service store. Yeah, not
happening, and none of that is happening. And I come from a long line of hospitality business, 30 years in the hospitality business, and I can tell you from all the way from restaurants, being in the dirt, being in the trenches, all the way to senior executive. But I can tell you this: I ain't tipping. I'm not tipping a machine. You got to be out of your mind. Maybe you could start the Matrix war with that. I mean, I know I sound like Lawrence Fishburne right now. This whole this little conspiratorial idea, but
you're right on. You're spot on.
It's not.
Yeah.
You look down that aisle and you do that. You go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go to your grocery store, and you see that all those jobs have been replaced by technology. You don't think the same thing is happening in Hollywood? That's why they went on strike. One of the reasons they went on strike. What is the other thing? The video game industry is next because they're paying them too much money. And the other thing is, look at this. You see this thing right here? If this was made in North America, it'd cost you $11,000 based on salaries. I did the math, by the way, today. Yeah. $11,000 it would cost
that's
you
our
for
show.
A Samsung. I know. Samsung S23 Ultra. Okay, that costs you $11,000. But because they're paying somebody $5 a day with suicide nets outside of their windows in horrible conditions, that's the only reason why we can afford this.
Well,
so if you don't think that that's going to happen to the gaming industry, you got another thing coming.
Okay, I agree. I agree with what Mag says. This is the trajectory moving forward. I have to highlight that what we're going to see over the next few years is AI taking over mundane tasks, programming, like you said, bug fixing, play testing, and Matt Booty's already talked about that. and that will help.
Nefarious than that.
Yeah, well, there will be nefarious stuff coming. Yes, probably. I think by and large, most of the creative things that we love that game developers create, that magic that we play in games, will be done with real humans and real human-led teams. But there's going to be a big chunk of the workforce, because what we don't realize is we think of video game development as a passion and an art form. And right now, all the big companies look at it, King, like it is a cash cow ready to be milked. And if they can get out more games for less money, they're going to figure out how to do it. And in the end, we've seen this year, I didn't even want to get into this thing, so I'll just cut it off at that, and we can move on past that. What we're seeing is a big spike from COVID where they hired all these people because gaming is booming, and now they need to pare back because the return on investment has been a little bit thinner than they expected. And it's gone across almost every industry.
I'm going to address one person. Sorry, go ahead, King.
Yeah. No, I think that whole thing, what I was explaining to people, the government gave out a boatload of money. When COVID happened, a boatload of money to big business. They gave out a boatload. So what you do with that? Well, what you have to do is you have to hire. So you're hiring a ton of people, right? Because you got to get productivity up, and you're working remotely. So this is a whole new venture that you're doing, and you're building infrastructure and stuff like this. The government allowed big tech to stay in business. Now, a lot of these big tech, the first people to pay everything back was automotive. They paid everything back automotive, right? Now, the next ones was to pay everything back was big tech, Microsoft, Apple, all this other stuff, right? They paid everything back. Now, everything starts to settle. Now you start to see who you need, who you don't need. And that's when the advent of, AI happened during the COVID. AI was monitoring how many people were sitting at the computers actually working. When you thought that camera was on, you didn't understand exactly what was going on. And it was a number-based system for you. So anytime you thought you were getting over, you really wasn't getting over. And then what they did was have an evaluation system. And that evaluation system allowed you to see if you were going to be fired, right? You didn't know what was going on, but it was happening. And all this was done impersonally. So the AI goes through the statistics, the analytics, and everything, and it deemed that you weren't a good worker and you're gone. AI has been implemented inside big tech for a long time. And shout out to Satya with OpenAI. What they were working was on general AI. That is a no-no. That is not supposed to be done. That is absolutely
Is that
bad.
the AI that Mass Effect warned of?
Yeah.
Every single sci-fi movie on the planet in history has warned us of exactly this. And what did Lawrence Fishburne say? We marveled at ourselves at the birth of AI. He said, and that was the beginning of all of it. By the way, I want to address one person, LS in the chat. He said, "Are you advocating shit wages?" No, I'm not. I'm telling you from their perspective, what they see, the number crunchers, the bean counters, those guys, they're looking at it saying, why am I paying 500 people when I could pay 100 and then the computer?
The wages are good. It's just how many people they want to pay.
There you go. And now you're seeing the cuts all happening now. This is where it's going to start. And then they're going to start outsourcing AI projects from these smaller studios. And they're going to say, listen, we're not going to use AI for everything, but we're going to use AI for what would have been 10 other people that we could have paid for. Like, let's say somebody splinters off from this layoff situation at Microsoft. They splinter off and form a studio. Yeah. Okay? They can't afford 100 people at that studio, but they can afford 50. So you know what they do? They'll hire 50, and then the other 50 people, the more redundant tasks, the more like labor intensive tasks, they'll outsource that to AI. And that could actually be Microsoft themselves will do that work because they've invested. So has Google, so has Amazon, so has Facebook or Meta. They've all invested in AI, and you could now start outsourcing your products and your needs to AI. And that's what they're going to do instead of hiring more people so they can have smaller groups. And it's going to happen with the bigger studios. Look what's happening with Embracer. Look what's happening to Riot. Look what's happening, what just happened to Microsoft. Bungie, Sony's going to be the same thing. I don't know. I can't speak on Nintendo, but I just, this is what's going to happen.
We just lost Project Odyssey, a 4-player survival exploration type game from Blizzard. Today, we just found out we lost the next Deus Ex game, and Elias Terfexis, I think that's how you say his name. He's so awesome. He's the voice of Adam Jensen. He said, If they were further along, I probably would have heard. So they canned this thing fairly early. And it sucks as fans to see all these games that we want to play get canceled. But I gotta like shoehorn this in while we still have King here. I'm just gonna break the seal, and I don't care. I'm just gonna say Suicide Squad. I played the alpha. I don't see hardly anything redeeming about it. I know that people like Destin Legary have said, "Oh, the story's really awesome." The story cutscenes may be great, but when you get into the game, I find no joy. And this coming from a guy that loved Crackdown 3 and really liked Gotham Knights. I did not like at all my time with Suicide Squad, and it's been nothing but a mess. King, did you follow any of the news today and yesterday about codes and review codes yesterday on Suicide Squad?
I just put a video up about this. Okay. I was under NDA with the game when it came out. I loved the game, right? Okay, so I'm in a very small minority in loving the game. I love
like you've got some pushback on saying you like it.
Oh, everybody hate me. I feel like Chris. Everybody hates Chris.
Crazy.
But I love the traversal. I love being the Captain Boomerang. I mean, I love the game. I love the thought process in the game. It was so funny. It was so wacky. It's so Suicide Squad. But again, you're talking to a comic book nerd, right? So again, I'm reading my comic books wishing for them to be real in some form. I'll control them? Oh my God, I went crazy anytime I got a chance to get that superhero game. So I know where we came from to where we are. So the fact that I have 4 different playable characters with 4 different traversal systems with enemies all over the place, and I have an open world to go have fun doing this stuff, I'm sorry, I'm just a different dude. I just happen to like it. I can take Harley Quinn and beat people up and shoot people and do stuff like that. Yes, please. Sign me up for 2. And then the graphics is insane. So I know people wanted but people wanted an Arkham Knight game. People wanted a traditional, rock steady, let's get them, beat them up, let's get them in the dark, let's do what we got to do. That's why you like Gotham Knights. I like Gotham Knights too. But I also know different fish do different things, and this is a different fish, and not everybody's going to like it.
Yeah.
But again, I saw people begging for codes. They're upset that they didn't get a code. You entitled dudes, and I'm saying it to girls and guys. I use dudes for everybody as a general term.
Can I hang you out in the breeze and ask you what you think about IGN's lead saying we didn't get a code, we're not getting a code? Like, do you have an opinion on? Did you talk about that in your video?
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, I talked about it in my video. Good for them. Good for them. Good for them. You're not as tall. It's not as bad as you thought you was, right?
Yeah.
You're not the end all be all. You don't deserve to get everything off the backs of all the hard work of everybody else in the industry, and you're the first person that they look at Metacritic. I really don't like the hypocrisy over there. So I do have a problem. And full disclosure, we have our own website called lordsofgaming.net. That I find ultimately better, and I would steer you there.
Ooh.
But the problem is this: when you feel entitled and you put out hit pieces talking about in the title that you didn't like the game, and here's why.
What?
So automatically they said that the game is whack.
What if that wasn't? What if that wasn't why they got denied the code?
I don't care. I don't care why. I just happen to love the fact that they didn't get the code. I don't care why they didn't get the code. I don't care if it rained specifically on their building and that's why they couldn't get in to give them the code. I don't care. I'm just happy that they didn't get the code for giving Call of Duty a 4. So you reap what you sow. They're at your door and you're not getting your code. Goodbye.
I think that WB just doesn't love what they did with Hogwarts Legacy, Mag. How they just...
Sorry, say that again? Say that one more time?
I think that WB doesn't like what IGN, they're posturing with, where they just cowered down about the Hogwarts Legacy controversy. That's my...
Bingo! I wish we had a bingo sound.
Hold on.
Bingo sound.
There's a lot of people way more people than people would think that I really like at IGN. There's a lot of personalities and content creators and people there that I think are fantastic. Some of my favorites are Luke Riley, Ryan McCaffrey, Destin Legary, Damien Hatfield I've liked for a long time. Like I like a lot of people at IGN, but this, and I also don't think that IGN was whining about, oh, we didn't get a code. It was just somebody making a statement. We didn't get a code, and I don't think we're getting the code was basically their statement. And everyone's like, oh, you're whining and you're entitled. I don't know. That's kind of how I saw it. But, yeah.
I have an agenda, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mess with Suicide Squad, and I will happily be turned around and end up liking this, I hope. I don't know if I'm going to buy it at the $70. And Randall Thor called me. He's like, hey, Cole, are we going to buy the $100 early edition? And I go, no, unless you're buying it for me because you didn't spend that money on a camera.
Yeah,
Did you see what happened?
What, early access?
Did you see what happened? You didn't see what happened.
What?
Okay. Hey, all right, so the video I did today talks about how there's a bug.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You turn the game on, and it says you ended it.
Yeah, thank you for playing the game. Here's the credits.
Well,
yeah, somebody was like, some guy goes, what if I start giving out some leaks for Suicide Squad? I'm like, didn't people already beat the game just by loading it up? Yeah.
Oh, that's the fastest completion ever.
Oh, Maxie, come on. He says, I'm going to unsubscribe from you. IGN is the enemy, man. I mean, I'll never get 15,000 subscribers. They're not my enemy. I try to make really great content. Hey, if you load up a Colteastwood video where I review something or I talk about something, you'll get a 4K 60 video. If you load up something on IGN, most likely it's 1080p 30 at a low bit rate. So, hey, I just try to provide some good quality content. And I like the people at, I like some of those people at IGN a lot. So, whatever.
Yeah, I do too.
I do, yeah. King, how long do you want to stick around? I know you go to bed early so you can get your beauty sleep and get all handsome for the next day.
I get up and go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Let him go to bed.
No, but
hours, Cole.
Let's get one more topic and you know.
Okay. Why can't you just take the compliment? I just tried to say you're handsome.
Because you're going to have people thinking, oh, Dave is cutting out because he wants to sleep.
Bro.
It's okay. That's what I do every week. I'm
next time you're
on the show, man, I got to go to bed.
Next time you're on the show, get one of those sleep hats. And when we get like 10 minutes before the top of the hour, just go.
Yeah, right. I'm going to put my Valari pillow on it.
Bro, did you see the guy who said that I tried to push you off my show because it'd been an hour? He's like, what kind of disrespect is that?
Oh, my God.
Let's talk real quick.
People are wild in the chat, yeah.
This will be our last topic with you, King.
Right,
and you brought up the state of play for PlayStation on 31st. Wednesday, they're going to show some games. But let's talk mostly about, what Xbox fans have to look forward to, since PlayStation likes to talk about our games as well. But first of all, I did not realize that Concord is a first-person PvP day on PC games as a service title because I never even read into it. Do you guys have an opinion on Concord, Space Hamburger?
I
couldn't believe it.
Listen, I already knew that it was going to start going day and day on PC. You know, that stuff was going to happen because it's necessary. You know, it makes good business sense. So I'm waiting for their first single player story driven narrative game that launches day and day on PC, and I predict that's Wolverine. I think Wolverine launches on both, day and day, because the deficiencies of Spider-Man leads us to believe so. Spider-Man will be coming out in March. I think their next fiscal period is now, so the game is close to completion on PC, and that was because they started the process late. And I honestly believe that they're doing it simultaneously with Wolverine so that game can launch and it can maximize sales. You cannot have that mentality of second class and and continue to operate that way. You must have a first-class mentality. First-class mentality when it comes to business is maximizing the margin, and you must maximize the margin. You must be on every screen possible. So the CEO said they want to be on every screen possible, so this is the way that you do it. You must have yourself a component to your game, that your mobile component links it to your actual main game. Your main game must be playable on the console and PC alike, and what other services that you do have. You have to maximize dollars. That margin has to show, because like Mag was saying, the cost is prohibitive, right? For having the staff. That stuff puts, the board to look at you and say, okay, well, as successful as Spider-Man was, Insomniac has to make cuts. That's something that we don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to hear that at all. Insomniac delivered a product. Now, not saying that it was bug-free. Spider-Man had a lot of bugs, and I believe there was push by the board to make it there, because they were supposed to be out in September, and they ran from Starfield. I thought they had enough time to get it together in October, but it is what it is. So now, that isn't sustainable. They had to make cuts. They have. If Spider-Man would have launched on PC, I don't think they would have made cuts. I think they would have made enough money to have everyone there. They said it was super successful, not successful enough that they have to face cuts. And that's not supposed to happen. Not in this day and age, no.
Okay. The games as a service thing is partial what they'll show at the State of Play. We don't know exactly what I was looking at their blog, but I think Special Nick from Xbox Era has a good idea of what'll be shown at the State of Play. So I guess there's a Sonic remaster, Sonic Generations, which is another remaster, and I think they're going to showcase the Until Dawn remaster. Have you been? I've been laughing about this whole, 10 remaster games on PS5 this generation.
It is what it is. It is. Listen. When you don't have a product, what you do is you take the old product, you remix it, remaster it, and hopefully it resonates with the fan base or galvanizes it to get to newer customers. I understand where they are. They're in the space that Microsoft was in when Microsoft didn't have enough first-party studios in order to make content, and it was always buying, and plugging in holes. You're doing it. You're going to have a State of Play where the top of the order is Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin.
Yes.
I don't believe that you're going to see first-party titles there. You might. You might see one or two. Nothing big.
What about the rumor, according to Nick, that Judas from Ken Levine, the BioShock successor or spiritual successor, is supposed to be at this show? Is it PlayStation exclusive? Do you think PlayStation money had it this for a year or forever? Or are they just showing it because they were partnering with them for marketing?
Partnering for marketing. Sony doesn't have money hat for forever anymore. That's not sustainable. The board is not looking at that. And come this March, you will see that after that remake and whatever what is it? The Final Fantasy, the next one. That one, when that one comes out, and I think it's like March 31st or whatever, you're gonna see it on other consoles. You'll see something that's gonna happen that's gonna make you understand that that process that they were doing before, those gatekeeping games behind the PlayStation wall and continuing to use Square as a shield, that is over with. And that was their biggest bodyguard. It's done. They gotta come up with new stuff. They can't take The Last of Us and keep remastering it. They can't take the Nathan Drake and Uncharted and keep remastering it. They got to come up with new IPs. And the only way to do that is to pour into your services. They have to look at this is why I say there's no PlayStation 6. This is the reason why, because the mentality behind it is so flawed. But as my business mind, it drives me nuts because I catch OCD looking at you have the perfect vehicle to deliver this, and you choose not to because you want to gouge your fan base. But you don't have to. You can grow a service that keeps the fan base in there and just keep continuing adding quality to it. But I don't think they have the manpower as Microsoft does to
Yeah.
keep churning out good titles. They have the manpower to have one good title.
They have 15
every
studios.
year.
Right?
Yeah, 5 years a game.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's why they're kind of spinning their wheels in the mud with these remasters. Well, they're kind of biding time because Xbox
Tsushima 2. Where is it?
yeah, I mean,
Hello, where is it?
where's the games? Where's the games?
Yo,
Yeah.
They've been hacked. They've been hacked like 5 times. We haven't heard it. Where is it? See? I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. One last thing, King. How much of this 40-minute state of play will be, hey, Xbox, you guys get to play that? How much of that 40 minutes is going to be multi-plat stuff?
I think 80% of that stuff is on Xbox. I can't wait for Aaron Greenberg to say thank you so much for showing our games. And listen, you guys, don't bite the poison pill and thinking Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin is locked down just for you guys in perpetuity.
Well, Rise of the Ronin is being published by PlayStation, so it's different from Wolong. Wolong was not published by Xbox at all. They just kind of gave him the Game Pass bag. But it says here 40 minutes long. Will extended looks of Stellar Blade, which will probably be 8 to 10 minutes. Rise of the Ronin, 8 to 10 minutes. 2 great games coming to PS5 this year. They should have said two of our only games. I'm just kidding. We'll have a new look at other PSVR 2 in 2024 and beyond. And I know when VR 2 is shown, people kind of go, huh? But the leaks that a Metro game is coming to VR would be pretty cool. But VR is just like floundering right now on PlayStation.
Let me say this.
Okay.
For all the people that's out there in the world, the Microsoft console is not the only way to digest Microsoft games. Okay. So
love it.
When I tell you that a PlayStation game is coming to Xbox, we already got God of War, and you're trying to say, no, you don't. When you play games on your PC, most PCs has a Microsoft Windows installed. Okay, let's get to it. You have your controller. Everybody has a powerful PC. That's part and parcel to how Microsoft delivers. Now, PC, Microsoft. Xbox, Microsoft. Your tablet that you play on, your ROG that you play on, hello, Microsoft. They're all over on all these screens. I don't care how you piece it off. I don't care how you cope with it. I don't care what you say to yourself to get this over to yourself. But understand this. When you think about the PC, you think about Microsoft. You don't look at your PC and say Sony. That is not the thing.
Sony doesn't even have a store on PC.
Remember, they stopped that. They have to get it together. All right? I'm advocating for you guys, but to become an app because I want y'all in our store. But
right.
Again, I know that game is going to come over to the PC at some point in time, and that's when I tell you it comes over to Microsoft.
Jeez. Well, okay. I mean, you heard it first. You heard it here. That if you play on PC or you play on the Xbox, you get it best, you get it first, and you get it the best way. I mean, I've been telling people that, and Mag and I'll get into that later when you head out about how you get more options if you're over here in this ecosystem on the Xbox. Over here on Team Green. King, it's been really great having you here. Mag and I are going to finish out the rest of the topics while you get super handsome on your pillow. We appreciate you being here. Hey, can you do me a favor and really shop out your channel? Tell everybody how many subscribers you have, how your subscriber growth is, what your PIN number is, and stuff like that. I want to hear all about it.
You can follow me on Xbox Frontline News if you want to see more of me. If you want to see more of the team, that's Iron Lord's podcast with me, Lord Cognito, Lord Attic, and Lord Sovereign. That's where we form the Fantastic Four, and we act up on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My videos come out from Xbox Frontline News daily. And if you're a member, all these wonderful statues, I go in nauseam. If you see the Thing statue that's spinning right back there, that's XM Studios Thing. I'm a huge Incredible Hulk fan, so if he has a villain or he has a nemesis, which is the thing, I'm definitely gonna have him. I'm gonna be talking about it. I also have comic book corners, and I also have Combat Talk with the King, where I talk about fights and comic books. I'm going to be reading you the latest and greatest comic books with my lovely voice and showing you the stuff that interests me. But I love coming out and hanging out with you guys. And Colt, like I said, if I definitely gonna be there, I will definitely be there. I will not tell you no. I'll tell you you're like a brother to me. Mag, I love everything that you do. That pony stuff drives me crazy. I love it. I share it out every time I get it. And I think the compliment between you two is fantastic. It's a beautiful thing to see. And I told you I watch you guys all the time. So
yeah,
thanks,
thank
brother.
you.
We appreciate it.
I just got to say the King's been doing this for about 5 months on YouTube, and he's already at almost 7,000 subscribers. That is huge growth.
No. I've been doing it 2 months.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You had so you've been doing this daily thing for 2 months, and you're already at almost, what are you at? Hold on, I got it right here. Jeez, at 6,500 subscribers. You know how long it took me to get that? Dang it, King! Why are you so popular?
You helped me. like you helped me when you retweet and you share it out. Listen. I am so grateful for everyone in the community that helped me. That's why I go and I reach back to like the Black Viking and I share out his stuff. This is the reason why, and he's gonna be media. I told him he's gonna be media. Don't you worry about it. That stuff is gonna happen because I'm there to push for you. Everybody needs a leg up, and you helped me. You jumped, you came, and you're in my chat. You share it out. So I'm like, wow, that means so much to me. You really have no idea. And it's just the community itself. I'm so humbled by everything. I don't take anything for granted, and I appreciate each and every last one of you guys. So,
yeah, I mean, when you're growing, it gives an opportunity for somebody to actually watch one of my videos, and vice versa. And so right now, a lot of my friends aren't making videos. I've got Fonz, Gaz, Rand, Dealer, who's taking a little sabbatical, who'll be back. I know a lot of people ask in the chat. He messaged us and said, "Hey, I'm touching grass. I'm taking a break. I'm going to come back after a refresh." So he's doing good. But a lot of those people aren't making videos, and it's good to see you out there on the daily with the mustard heart.
I got no choice because Attic pushes me. Attic is an absolute beast.
Yep.
And he helps out so much. So, Attic pushes me. Like as a team, we all push each other. Cog and Saab, they all push. But it's just having that support system allows me to try to be as great as I could possibly be. So that's all I try to do. I just try to be better every day, and I just try to give my unique flavor to it. So some people don't like me holding the mic. Some people do like me holding the mic. So I'm gonna hold the mic.
That's impossible. That's impossible. Bro, we appreciate you really so much. You have a good night, and you come back on here in a little while and hang out with Mag and I and embarrass us because we need it, right?
Oh, cut it out.
Have a good one, brother. Have a good night.
All right.
See ya. All right, let me switch this thing to the boom. There we go. To the boom. Gonna bring the boom. Yeah. Mag, crazy.
Yeah.
So is there anything about State of Play you're looking forward to from PlayStation or Xbox?
I did hear something that actually it's funny. I saw the lists. The special Nick was talking about it. Some other people talking about it. Ironically, I saw the list before any of them, but I don't talk about the stuff anymore because I don't want to be, oh, he's a liar. He's a him and a him. So I didn't bother saying anything. However, there's something, I don't know, just whatever.
He's a mean him.
Yeah, him and him. But I did hear one thing that actually nobody had on their list. So I'm wondering if my intel was better than theirs or their intel is better than mine.
What is it?
So I heard that there's going to be a free demo of a Silent Hill. So it says Silent Hill remake will be shown there. However, the list that I got was almost identical to all the lists that everybody else got, except the one glaring difference was that there's going to be a free Silent Hill experience.
Okay, so, another PT Part 2 or something like that.
Possibly, but let's find out when they do it because I can't say that that's for sure. I'm just telling you what it says on my list.
Okay.
That's the only glaring difference that I noticed between, because I saw everybody when Special Nick and the rest of them posted, and I'm like, boy, that list looks awfully familiar. It's almost like word for word what I had received. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, but I didn't speak on it. However, like I said, the only thing that was different that on mine, it said a free Silent Hill experience. So let's see what happens there. Let's see. So we will reconvene next Monday, of course, everyone, and we'll find out if that in fact happened. So if it does, I'd be very happy because I'd be thrilled to give it a shot.
You're a big fan. Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of Silent Hill. Now the only thing is, I'm not a huge fan of Bloober. First of all, your name is stupid. Your name is stupid.
Your name's hard to say.
It's
right?
like
I didn't like the medium.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't like the medium.
Yeah.
I trudged through that game like it was like it was a chore. And when I rolled credits on it, which I did, I mean, at least I wasn't fraudulent about it. I rolled credits on it, but holy crap, when I rolled credits, I couldn't delete that game faster off of my hard drive. I was like, get out of here. I
didn't even finish it.
To get through it. Oh, it was a slog. Dude, it was a slog, man. And anyways, I'm a little concerned about that because Bloober's not really my favorite, development team. And but hey, let's see what happens. And if there is in fact a free Silent Hill experience, then that would be really great for anybody who's on the fence. Like if I don't want to spend $70 on a game, I don't want to spend $70 on a game that might not be good because Bloober's kind of mid. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they have talent, but I mean. They got to get that gameplay right. And I got to tell you, the medium looked great, but it didn't play great. It played sluggish. It played like slow. It was awful.
It was weird to play it at 30 in 2020. Yeah, it was like kind of
garbage. So, so I just want to make sure, I would like to see, but here's the other thing. The other thing is, if in fact this free Silent Hill experience is true, and this rumor and this actually happens, maybe they have a lot of confidence in the product, and because they're trying to, let's face it, there hasn't been a Silent Hill game in who knows how long, right? So they're not really catering to our generation. They're trying to, open up this game to a whole new generation, introduce a whole new one, so maybe they could start the series over again. Right? So they can actually get, a whole new generation of young gamers onto this series, very much like what Resident Evil did with the remakes, right? Sure. They did the remakes, and then they introduced it to a whole new group of people, not the OGs like us who played them originally on the PS1 and PS2, and then the original Xbox and GameCube and whatever else.
Yeah.
This was all remade as a love letter, yes, obviously to us, but it was also, let's face it, they were trying to expose it to a new generation. And that being the case, they succeeded. So that obviously Silent Hill wants to do the same. And if there is in fact a demo, then maybe they have some serious confidence in the game. That is saying, you know what, we think the game's hot.
And I'm thinking if there is a Silent Hill demo, people need to pay attention when you speak up and say, hey, we might see something like this. I got a couple super chats that are backed up, and thank you guys for those of you who are being patient with me reading super chats today, as I allowed King to have his time here for the 1 hour he was able to be here, and for Mag and I to finally start talking about the other topics as well. We got Jax82 who's talking about Last of Us, says, I still hated they killed off Joel in Last of Us 2. I really hated that scene a lot, even though I knew it was coming. Jax82, thank you for the $5 super chat as well. Says, I also hate they turned Ellie into a killer. She took out everybody, and the pregnant lady was way too much. I hated that scene as well. It was just she was a cold-blooded, blind revenge nonstop. And I suppose you would have a justification for it. I mean, go ahead.
I disagree entirely. Actually, I find that she was actually traumatized by the fact that she was pushing herself way too far, and they needed Joel's death to bring her to a different level of aggressiveness that would drive all sense out of her. But the thing is, her humanity remained. Her humanity remained when she sat down and sang the Aha song, Take on Me, with the guitar in the
humanity remained at the end when she spared
Abby.
Hold
on. Yeah, so I was gonna say, but there's all these things. But no, sorry, there's people that haven't there was some people.
What are you waiting for? The game's 4 years old. No, I'm just.
I know. But the thing is, she still had glimpses of humanity, and that scene that you're talking about specifically, when she did that, she started hyperventilating and realized, what the hell did I just do? And it's because her rage was so blinding that she didn't realize she was losing her humanity. So it was an internal struggle of her with this path of revenge and hatred, but at the same time, she was also hating what she was becoming. And so the part of her was fighting against herself. So it was a war within her. And that was the point of the story. And that's why so many people didn't get it, because they just didn't understand it. And so
I don't know. I mean, I think people got it.
I don't. I really don't. I actually think people are pretty, not everybody. I'm not speaking about everybody.
Notwithstanding the Last of Us 2 stuff, Mag, like I typically avoid movies that are in that same realm or that same tone, like, because I just don't like that feeling. I'm completely repelled by it. Biff Rinaldi with a 10 month I can't even think. And I like that we can disagree and that you're not going to chokehold me next week. I love that.
You gotta watch the Terrifier 2. You gotta watch the Terrifier 2.
I will not.
You want a good wholesome family movie.
With the Xbox Achievement Pop, there was I don't remember the name of the movie. There's a movie where someone house sits. This couple house sits and they get stalked by people wearing like the porcelain masks, and just the feelings I had, like, and it's kind of a slasher movie. Just the feelings I have just make me not happy. Biff Rinaldi with the 10-month channel chat says, I haven't played anything besides Power World since I first tried it. It's so good. Yes, it's really good. I've got like 20 some hours into it. I'm playing exclusively with my son, and we're building the world and capturing everything. We're working together. I have my base up on the hill. He's just down the hill, like one parachute away, and we just work together and gather stuff. It's been a really cool experience. I'm also playing Enshrouded on PC. It's only on Steam right now. It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation later, but it's like Dark Souls with Ark Survival, and the Dark Souls, you're going to die in 1 hit or 2 hits, and then you got to go grab your stuff. Really sucks for me. Not my bag, but I do enjoy the game. Brerius, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, so happy to see King here. Miss you on Sunday because his internet is out. I wish I'd read that while he was here. Highlander 001 gifted 5 channel memberships today. Thank you so much. He says, I worked for Microsoft. I got laid off and a year of pay, and they covered my medical for a year. I was there for 3 years. It sucks. Look at iRobot. I hope you're working now. I'm sure Highlander's made it since then, but he's been a good supporter of the show. Boner Jams with the $10 super chat. Sunday, Boner Jams. That name is great. Boner Jams.
Oh, wow.
I picture Boner Jams on the side of one of those monster trucks, like, that Mag drives. Driving the Boner Jams. He says,
go to hell, Greta Thunberg.
Just rolls coal on her. Boner Jams says, at Colt 45 Wood, you handsome sob you, or SOB. Mag, what's good, you rapscallion. King David, who he missed this one. The OG of the TurboGrafx 16. Love the show, boys. Hope everything has great week, smooches. Check out their show on Wednesday nights. They do Under the Bus. They talk guitars. They talk music. They talk the music industry. Gold Shield, thank you for the 2. Don't Blizzard have the worst wages in the industry? I don't know. Mag, do you know anything about that?
I don't know their salaries specifically at Blizzard. No. What I had researched earlier, which we were talking about at the beginning of the show, was just a general. I looked up general wages, and it was an average salaries for lower, mid, and upper tier of video game industry developers.
Okay, and I think that's a pretty good way to like bring up the conversation the way you did, like saying these are general wages. I don't know. Who was that? Sorry. A Gold Shell. I don't know if if there's a problem at Blizzard with wages. I would have no idea, but Mikey Barr is gone. Like, he left Xbox to go to Blizzard. Blizzard brought him back with the acquisition, and now he's gone. And I would venture, and Meg and I have kind of talked about this, like, what do you think's going on behind the scenes? We're thinking. Hey,
yes.
The bagels are for employees only, Mike.
Now, what else happened?
I mean, say whatever you want, Mag. I'm just saying
I've saying anything.
I've had him. I've had Mikey Barra. I was on RDX podcast when I was part of that panel, and Mikey Barra was on the show once. He was really cool. He was great.
Yes,
I met him in person. He's like my age, but he's like super rich compared to me.
So like 62, 63?
Dig it, Mag.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Somewhere around there, yeah. But yeah, apparently it's just better if he just goes and travels the world, which is a weird thing to say, which kind of let's pretend I know nothing. And if you say, sorry about all the layoffs, I'm going to go travel the world while you guys get it ironed out, kind of seems like, I don't know, like take that. I don't know. We won't say anything.
I'm sure his severance was massive and everything was fine. And he could literally not work another day in his life, and his kids probably won't have to either. So it's all good. I'm sure he's completely taken care of.
Fine.
Well, sorry, excuse me. It's all good for him. So yeah, he'll be just fine. And then you know what? He'll get bored after a couple of years, like Blazinski did, and then he's gonna start getting ants in his pants. Then he's gonna start to create a new studio called Not Blizzard, and then he's gonna he's gonna
start a new studio called Yellow Snow Cones. Yeah, something like that.
Yellow Snow Cones, Not Blizzard Inc. And then he's gonna start making games again and whatever, and just hey, look at what the guys did from the Call of Duty devs that ended up making Respawn. You know what I mean? And then they ended up doing their thing. And of course, Respawn was of course a direct stab at ABK, right? So hence the name or whatever else. And then look at them. Look at that. They became a monster studio after that too, and they started off relatively small. So anyways, whatever. Sorry. Carry on.
No, it's fine. It's all part of the conversation. I'm looking for. They brought on Joanna Ferris as the Ferries, I think it's pronounced. Joanna Ferris is the new Blizzard president who's taken over. And she is on social media if you want to check her out. And she's going to be the new president from now on. She said currently on heavy rotation is Diablo 4, Call of Duty, Baldur's Gate 3, and Life, Yoga Life, and Games Life. Yeah, so hopefully things go really well with her at the helm, but I don't know. I have my indifferences about the Blizzard that was, and I'm excited about the Blizzard that will be. Let's talk about the Blizzard that will be really quick here. Mag, what do you think they're planning on doing? Because they canceled the Project Odyssey game, but they say they have a couple other things that are, at least two things that are in the works. Are they going to bring back some franchises, or are we going to have to kind of wait for that to go to in the good zone?
Yeah, it's going to be a while. And the reason why I'm going to say it's going to be a while, because they did say that the games were barely in early development, if I recall correctly, the actual report. And let's not mince words here. Microsoft's version of barely in early development means, oh my God, this might not even be next gen. It might be the gen after. Hopefully, God willing, they actually start moving a little quicker on some of these titles, because waiting 5, 6, 7 years for a game, that it's just not going to cut the cadence of what their vision is. I understand that there's 26 studios and everything else, but they are going to need to make some major moves beyond the acquisition of ABK and Bethesda. And I don't mean more acquisitions. I mean third-party deals and things like that to give these teams time. Because when I read that, I'm like, oh, I was like, well, I guess we're not getting a Blizzard game before 2029.
Typically, you don't. I mean, typically,
I know.
What is the cadence of the modern Blizzard, where 2016 they put out Overwatch, and then I don't know if you'd count Overwatch 2, Heroes of the Storm, I think was just before Overwatch or after.
Yeah, and how long was that? 5 years?
But
6
they kind
years.
of,
holy jeez.
Yeah, they kind of killed that off, so they waited 6 years and brought out Diablo 4. And you and I have talked about this on the show, where the cadence of Blizzard games are going to be a long way from something new. And yeah.
Well, I mean, based on the popularity of Diablo 4, I can see them sort of fast tracking a Diablo 5. By not having such a gap between Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 and Diablo 2 and 3. I mean, those are monster gaps. I mean, that's borderline Rockstar level gaps in between, you know what I mean? Between GTA 5 and GTA 6 is 10 years, right? Or actually, by the time it comes out, it'll be 12 years.
You'll wait and you'll like it.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, but I mean, 12 years is getting a little silly. But anyways, that's Rockstar. But yeah, it's sort of in the same vein, right? So if you see that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this could be a long ways off. So it might not be till the tail end of the next generation. which is insane to me. And, that's insane. So I actually believe it or not, I've taken Blizzard completely off my radar because I'm just like, listen, man, you guys are so far away. What the hell is the point of even looking at you right now? Like, just go do your thing. Wake me up when you're ready. And like, there's so many other things to like play. You know what I mean? Like from everybody, not just from Microsoft, from like Sony and Nintendo. There's all kinds of stuff out there. So we got lots of things to deal with.
I don't think you and I were on pins and needles waiting for the next Blizzard release.
No,
like,
not really.
Like
not
some other might be. And I understand that that's okay, that I may not. I enjoyed Overwatch for a few weeks, right? But for the most part, I never played WoW. I see it and I'm like, I don't think I would ever play it. I don't like RTS games. So StarCraft fans are big and they're well-deserved. But I can't sit here and tell you that I'm super excited about a StarCraft reemergence or World of Warcraft Modern coming forward. Or I am excited for them to take the classic World of Warcraft and make a console version like we've talked about. Throw that on there. I'll be so happy for everyone else. I won't play it, but that's the thing about you and I as content creators or podcasters. Like, it's not about us. It's about talking to all of you about the game. I'm looking at the replay. Why in the heck did I do this? Because the show's like so far behind on my screen. It looked like I was doing something like this, and I don't even know what it was.
It's funny. I see the same thing, and I'm like, why?
It distracts me.
It's like, when did I turn my camera off? And I'm like, oh yeah, that was like 5 minutes ago.
YouTube does this thing where you have to hit refresh sometimes to get it back to live. But it looked like I was trying to pull like a huge whale out of the water with a small fishing line. But and that's that's the beauty of being on camera for podcasts. Let's take a moment here, Mag, and let's call out Xbox 2 and for breaking their promise.
Xbox 2, what?
Yeah, remember those guys?
They're a flash in the pan. That podcast just started a few weeks ago. It'll be gone by Valentine's Day. Don't even worry about them. It's just going to be XNC forever. That's all there's going to be to it. And then when we get to the Keeleys and they have podcast of the year, it's literally going to be just one category. It's going to say, and the nominees are the XNC podcast, and the winner is, and the winner is,
and the winner is
that's just the one. By the way,
and the winner is Ed Sheeran. Yeah, that's what will happen.
Sheeran, yeah. Thank you.
He goes, I don't even have a podcast. Yeah, well, we don't know who those XNC guys are.
Just go sing a song and shut up. So here's the thing. I'm looking at the Blizzard poll you put up in the chat, and it's almost 50-50.
Yeah, sure.
Are you a big Blizzard fan? Yes and no. So
I said big on purpose.
It's lukewarm. Like they're pretty lukewarm, I think.
Well, it's not. It's lukewarm. It's lukewarm in this group right here. In this group
right here, I think that this group of people, our chat, the people listening to the show, whatever else. I think the majority of those people. I'm not saying everybody, obviously, but I would say like the majority of the people I think are Activision fans. I think they're more interested in what Activision's got to offer than Blizzard. But I'm, like I said, not saying everybody. Obviously,
what's the future look like? I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I'm done. That was it. I was just going to say 50% says yes. So
it's fairly close. Do you guys like watching a podcast when people are on camera? I mean, it's more work, like lights and camera, and you can't go like this, in the middle of the show. But I think it's really enjoyable. I hope you guys like it. If we switch to just gameplay and a little icon, I feel like Meg and I need all the help we can get, so we got to be on camera. Let's talk about Activision because, there were cuts. There's a lot of people and there weren't, just redundancy, like you said. But without diving into that, because it's really been talked about a lot, we all made our stance. Is there a good future for Activision doing something different besides the status quo of another Call of Duty game and yet another Call of Duty game?
Well, here's the thing. You also have they painted themselves in the corner. And when I mean I mean Microsoft, to paint themselves in the corner with a subscription service. So the problem with that, and there's not a problem with the subscription service. However, there is a problem with the fact that they're going to need constant content cranked out, putting into that Game Pass subscription service, right? So that being the case, you are going to get the same Activision titles cranked out every single year because they have to. They have no choice because can you imagine if you say, okay, well, Call of Duty's in Game Pass now. Everyone's like, yay. And then but they're only going to come once every 2 or 3 years. People freak out, right? It's like, because we want to give the teams other things to work on. Not going to work, and it's not going to happen. First of all, Call of Duty's a cash cow. Okay, regardless of what people think of its quality, this and that, whatever. I'm loving the hell out of it. Like right now, I'm playing Modern Warfare 2, 3, and Vanguard because I got them all for cheap. And so now I'm going in there and I'm just neck deep in Call of Duty right now. And it's a very addictive gameplay loop. My God, like you forget when you like put Call of Duty down for like 6, 7 months, 8 months, whatever. You pick it up again. You're like all of a sudden you're like a zombie. You're like, mouth open, drool coming out.
I mean, we make fun of it, but you also forget how fantastic it feels.
It's awesome. I love it.
The gunplay and the reload animation, the snappiness of the auto aim in the single player.
Headphones.
Yeah,
it's great. So
that was like a transformative moment, Mag, when my buddy. Sorry, I'll say this real quick. My buddy's like, come up. My buddy lived behind me. He's like, come up and check out Call of Duty Black Ops 2 with my Turtle Beach headset, and I would never buy one. And he puts he's like this. We're both the same age. He's like, check this out. He goes, he puts it on my head and he goes, here, play. And I was like, you can hear the bass and you can hear the shells and you can hear the footsteps. And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get one of these.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing. So that they're gonna have to keep cranking out Call of Duties. They're gonna have to keep cranking out. Yeah, there you go. You're going to have to keep cranking out all the other Activision games that they've been working on, whatever else. And they're going to have to bring back old IPs. They're going to have to remaster stuff. They're going to have to, you know what I mean? They're going to have to up-res, raise the frame rates on old games, this and that. They're going to have to keep cranking stuff out in order to fulfill the endless buffet of Game Pass. And that is going to be an issue because when you're doing that, at the same time, you want the teams to be creative and say, okay, guys, create new IPs, do this and that. But we can't have you sacrifice putting in titles continuously into Game Pass, right? So they're like, well, what do you want from us? Like, you want one or the other? We can't do both. So I think that they're going to take a lot of the back catalog stuff and remaster, remake, whatever. Maybe not remake, but like remaster, up-res, do all that kind of stuff.
Or at least, at the very least, port them. To make sure they're
port them and bring them up, like bring old Tony Hawk games up to 60 FPS and whatever else, and up-res them to 4K and blah blah blah.
I don't know if they'll do a lot of that, Mag, but I think at the very least they might be able to push those titles up to Backcompat system, which might have previously been held behind by licensing agreements when Xbox didn't own Activision. But
exactly.
I want to talk about why. We are a full month into 2024. We're like 3 months into the acquisition, and there's been no fruit of the labor of Activision for Xbox fans. I'm also going to say, first we'll talk about Game Pass like you were leading into, but I'm just going to drop this here and say I don't think Xbox is going to do a roundtable with Activision Blizzard because of the layoffs and other reasons. I think because of scrutiny with regulators, Senator Warren over here in the U.S. said that you need to keep fighting. The FTC needs to keep fighting to untangle this deal. Stupid. Why don't we have every Call of Duty dropping on Game Pass with some sizzle trailer like we did with Bethesda?
Well, they did say that it was going to take time to climatize the merger, right? So they said they were going to, because they're trying to bring in two different work styles, two different cultures, or work cultures, you know what I mean? And so they said it was going to take some time to basically get everything settled, climatized, lay people off. That's all part of it. You know what I mean? When they say climatized, they also meant laying people off. That's just corpo speak for we're doing this, and that's exactly what they did. So don't lie to yourselves. It's not all for good reasons, and anyway, I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's just they need time to do all that. I don't think we're going to see any of that till the summer, to be quite honest. And then there's another thing. The other thing
till
is
the
that
summer, till they drop on Game Pass.
I don't think so. I mean, if they did, if they were going to do it any sooner, they would have said something by now. And they've already had their showcase. They had their developer direct of what's coming up this year.
And they said that they'll do something. I don't remember what their statement was.
I think the next game show is.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? But like I said, I don't know. I'm just shooting in the dark here. But the thing is that the Call of Duty situation specifically is a bit of a conundrum because I understand, I called this years ago, by the way, that they're going to create, before they even created the Call of Duty hub, where they have multiple titles in there. Mm-hmm. I called that years ago that they were going to basically design it like Destiny 2. and then we're gonna have like an open world hub, and then you're gonna have all the different campaigns and all the different games that you can go visit, and then play multiplayer and whatever else. And they're gonna keep the whole thing going. It's gonna be a gigantic ecosystem just called Call of Duty, and then you can go to all the subgenres and all the different games. Here's the problem. The problem is that each game is 200 gigabytes, right? They need to fix that. Yeah. They need to fix you want to talk redundancies, Microsoft? Let's talk about the redundancies of a 200 gigabyte every time you download Call of Duty. It keeps re-downloading Warzone. And it keeps re-downloading
on Xbox.
The same
on Xbox,
assets.
you can package install that on Xbox.
I know.
Normally, you just hit the button and say install, like hurry up, because
I know. You got to pick and choose
annoying.
Whatever. They need to make it a little simpler and just say, listen, you know, Warzone is a one-time download if you want it. Okay, don't keep I know that they say you could piecemeal. You know how you download it, go, okay, choose your downloads. You could choose, you could download, the multiplayer. You could download the campaign. You could download zombies, whatever, and then you could do it in priority or not download them at all, right? But the thing is, how messy is that going to get? You know what I mean? How messy is that going to get when you've got 15 Call of Duty titles and what are you going to have? 3 terabytes? Just so you could put 10 games on it? How stupid is that? That's not gonna work.
What if Xbox pushes Call of Duty to become like the Forza Motorsport model, where it's just Call of Duty, and then you buy the $30 campaign every year,
right? And then maybe simplify
or every other year
in a way. But people are going to want to go back and play those legacy titles. They don't want those. They don't want their title. They don't want a lot of people who you want to talk about game preservation. I know Phil's a big fan of game preservation. You want to talk that. You want to have the games intact the way they are, the way they were, and the way that they're going to be in the future, not butchered into you know what I mean? Butchered into segments because we can't fit them all on our hard drive, or it's not feasible because they're way too big of a download file. And that's the problem with that. You know what I mean?
It's because it's packaged in with Warzone and the multiplayer modes, and then zombies gets packaged in there, and then the campaign. Yeah, it's super bloated. But as far as I know, Mag,
they need to fix that somehow.
As far as I know, Mag, the majority, or if not all, Call of Duty titles over the past 12 years are all Backcompat. And I'm like, you spent $69 billion on this, and you don't have the common decency of fast-tracking a bunch of games like Spyro and Call of Duty and some of the non-licensed games, like you can't bring Transformers in there, Spider-Man. But you don't have why aren't those fast-tracked in and just have this huge clump of Activision and Blizzard games in with your normal Game Pass offerings, Xbox? This is me telling you what to do. I don't care if you want to have this cadence. So, we like to do 8 games every 2 weeks. No, I'm sorry. You bought Activision and Blizzard. It's time for the very first week of February to say, here's 37 games, because we're dumping all of the Call of Duty games plus the 8 that we already had planned from other partnered studios to come to Game Pass, and just start getting those games in the service. Because guess what? When you can play World at War or Black Ops 2 free in Game Pass, you're going to see an uptick of subscribers. For people who said, I wanted to go back and buy those. They're always $20 a piece if you go back and buy them. And I really don't understand what the dragging of the feet is about getting that content to their platform.
See, I see a big mess with the Call of Duty thing. And the reason why I see a mess is that they're going to have to find some kind of a way to make it somewhat universal, that people are actually going to be able to put most of the titles onto their hard drive, or at least, like a good portion of them on a hard drive or an external hard drive or something. Because if you want to have these ecosystems up and running, like you brought up World of War, all of a sudden it'd be like, oh yeah, World at War multiplayer is going to have a big resurgence when it goes on Game Pass. No, it's not. No, it's not. You know why? Because they're going to say, oh, sorry, dude, I downloaded Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and that's my whole hard drive. That's 500 gigs right there.
No, I mean, you're talking about the modern versions of Modern Warfare 2 and 3? Or the Backcompat? I mean,
what I'm saying is, let's
you
say
you don't have to do that. Like, if you just want to.
I know, but
it is your hard drive.
If people are piecemealing this one and this one, and then dude calls you up and says, bro, let's play World at War, you go, oh crap, I can't. I have to erase one of these because I have to erase one of these and download that one in order to fit it. It happened to me a few weeks ago, and I'll tell you why. Because Noof Nukem, shout out to Noof, is that he said, hey dude, you want to play Cold War on PS5 because it's free, right? They had it for free for PlayStation Plus or whatever, right? I mean, I already had Cold War on Xbox, but I'm like, well, I can, no problem. I'll just download it if it's free. So I went to my PS5 and I tried downloading it. I couldn't. You know why? Because Modern Warfare 2 and 3 were on there, and Vanguard.
Yeah.
Hard drive gone. And I'm like, well, I'm in the middle of playing those games. I'm not going to erase those in order to download Cold War just to play with Noof and then have to reinstall one of those. Like, are you out of your effing mind? Like, how is this going to work?
I don't know. I just think the ends justify the means. I don't care what happens to somebody's SSD being filled up. I just care about having the option to play these old games since they should be available.
Sure.
I mean, of course you can be mad about if you're going to stack yourself with 3 Call of Duty games, but I think the end justifies the means, where if I can finally play World at War because I never played it, I think there's like 2 Call of Duty classics that I never played, and that's one of them. Like,
really?
I would love to sit down and play. I heard it's amazing. I've always heard it's amazing. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Hey, chat, help me out. What year did that come out? And I'll probably tell you what the heck I was busy with that fall that I absolutely skipped one of the great Call of Duty campaigns. World at War probably would have been.
And World at War multiplayer was hot, man.
2012 or 2010, I think.
That was Pacific War. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah,
I remember like
fantastic.
Blow-torching snipers in like the palm trees because they were like hiding in the trees. And you just blow-torch. Oh, it was wild, man. It was a great game.
Yeah, it was great
game. Yeah.
Hey, Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat, thank you for channel member gifting 1 channel membership. Meg loves your name every time. It makes him happy. Matt McDonald Media, thank you so much for the Canadian $5 super. He said, this is about 45 minutes ago, he said, Spider-Man 2, New Game Plus, State of Play. Sony after the show, wow, they're hyped for New Game Plus. They were. Start the remaster immediately. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. You got to wait 3 years to remaster a PlayStation game.
Man. I platinumed Spider-Man 2, and I will tell you, I'm never going to go back and play it again. I am Spider-Man'd out, and I'm just like, that game just left a bad taste in my mouth. Bad writing, too many politics. It was just like, oh God, enough, I'm done. And if they were to announce a Spider-Man 3, I wouldn't even like get up out of my chair. I'd just be like, next. So anyway, sorry, carry on. That was really funny. That was a really funny super chat, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you, chat, for bearing with us as we try and think about everything that's going on. There was a news break. I think this is fairly accurate that Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be locked to 30 frames on the PS5 and Xbox. And Meg, I have the opportunity to play a game if I really want to play it at 60. I'll play it on PC, and I have. But you don't want to play on a PC. You don't want to be like Fonz, and you don't want to be like Zocker87 who play on PC. Is this going to be a big deal? This is going to be a big RPG from Capcom. Are people just going to say, hey, it's okay, it's 30, even though they lamented Starfield to the ends of its entrails for being 30 FPS? Are you going to play this or wait?
No, it's been on my radar for quite a while because Capcom is got to be in one of my top 5 developers on the planet. But I got to say that I'm not. I'll wait till they have a performance mode. And I mean, what's the problem with having a 1440p 60 FPS down the line? They can easily do it once they figure it out. I'm not. I already told you before. I wasn't kidding. I'm not buying any games until the fall, and because I'm getting through. I have a backlog of AAA bangers, not even including indie games. I'm gonna get through every single one of those things. One of those games, right? Yeah. And when I get through those games, then I'll buy another game. Until then, I'm not going to buy a game till like September or October. I'm not even joking. I'm going to play all those games and just enjoy it. Hey, man, I paid money for them. I'm going to get everything.
Yeah, you better.
And hey, you never know. If there's a big video game crash, at least I got a backlog of great games I can play that can carry me for a couple of years. So I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, the point is, I will wait till they patch it to do a 1440p 60 FPS. The game looks great.
Or 1080p 60. It's on the Resident Evil engine, which runs at Resident Evil 4 runs at like 1293p up to 1440p and struggles to hold 60. So, but this
game.
apparently this is a huge map. Like when you're playing Resident Evil 4, Mag, which you've done 90 times.
It's more linear.
Very linear, yeah.
More linear. Yeah, and that's a fantastic game, a fantastic build, and it plays incredibly well on both systems, on the Series X and the PS5.
Yeah.
And I've played them on both, right? So I know. And then same with Village, and same with Resident Evil 7. I've played them on both systems. So the thing, and they all form amazing. But you're right. We're talking like Ubisoft / Witcher style map. So it's going to be monstrous. So it's going to take some time. But you know what? I'll wait. I have no problem waiting. Like I said, I have a feeling they'll patch it down the road because Capcom is very attentive to the fan base. Very attentive. And they listen and they're really good at what they do. Or if there's a possibility that they can make 30 work and it actually plays and moves really well, then maybe, But until then, I'll wait till the fall and see what happens.
The Starfield's a great 30. Everybody knows it who played it on Xbox. Like, it's a forgivable thing. I just wish, it wasn't going to happen on these consoles. And I think it really ushers in that idea of we will see a lot more 30 FPS games. I don't know if Hellblade 2 will only be 24 FPS at a dynamic 4K in the super cinematic mode. I would assume they would have a performance mode, but I think we are reaching the end of the power that the PS5 and the Xbox Series X can do. And I also will stand here and say, if it's 30 FPS, this Dragon's Dogma 2, if it's 30 FPS on PS5 and Series X, I don't expect the PS5 Pro, if it exists, which I think it does, to kick that up to 60 frames. But we'll see. We'll see. I think if PS5 Pro would run it at 60, you'll get it 60 on the standard powered console. So that's just where I think is going on. But I know the devs are probably they're pushing for fidelity over anything. And if the consoles can't keep up, that's where you'll say, oh, I guess Starfield wasn't the only game, because there will be more. But yeah, Colin Prime says Starfield's great at 80 to 90 FPS on my PC. You know what, Colin? I just cap mine at 60. I'm like, hold there and give me the rest of the visuals. I don't need it going over 60 whatsoever. It's not going to stay all that stable anyway. I have a 3080 in my PC. So, yeah, let's see. I think I got that one. Hey, that's not the right screen. Yeah, that's the whole thing with next generation coming too. We'll talk more about that in another show where next generation for Xbox is going to kick off in 2026. Not for the reason you think, because Xbox is not in the niche console war anymore. That's all over. They are allowing their players and their customers to play it best, however they want. $300 Series S, $500 Series X, or the PC of your choice, or all those great handhelds, you'll get it the best way and the best value. And I think that's what people don't understand. There's somebody in the chat, I won't even mention his name, who's like, Xbox lost the console war. It's like, where have you been for 10 years? Like the console, remember that pie chart I show you where that little sliver, that little 20 to 25% sliver is the Switch who's trouncing the PlayStation? Yeah, we've got a good future ahead of us, I think. As long as the hardware is cool, does some cool things, and we have big ways to play, I think that's good. But that Matthews is like, I think you missed my last super chat. I'll take a look here. He did leave one that was very political, I think. Let me see here. Looking up, not seeing it. Hold on. It's right here. Nope, not reading it, bro. I don't care. Look, I'll tell you why, Matthews. I'm a religious person. I have friends who have different religions. Mag is probably a different religion than me. My good friend Gaz is a different religion than me. But you know what? Friends come first. Games come first. Relationships and having a common ground where we play video games. We talk about the stuff we love. We help each other decide if we're going to buy Suicide Squad or not. Matthews, that's what's more important. And if that helps me read your super chat without saying what you need to say on this platform, which is ours, we appreciate you. But there's a lot to be excited about, Mag. Mag, it's a good time. There's going to be more games that we can handle. And thank you for being here on the show with me tonight. You suck. Yes, I love you.
Yeah, man. It was the best. We had a great time tonight. We had a great guest tonight. Great topics, great things to talk about. We kept it mostly positive, even though there's a lot of negative out there and whatever else.
Oh, forget the third-party stuff, Mag. Forget it. Who cares? Yeah, who cares? It'll be fine. I think everything's going to be good. Yeah.
But it'll be fine in the long run. And then, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see where everything goes. And I still think that there's going to be a reckoning, but that's me, and that's not a reckoning for me, and not a reckoning for product. There's going to be a reckoning for people, but that's a whole other story for another time.
We wish everybody the best. Yeah, we do.
Yep. But Absolutely. Either way, we had a great show tonight. Chat, don't forget to hit the like button on the way out, and don't forget Manscaped for 20% off. Use our promo code for that. Dude,
check that
out. You gotta do it, man. You gotta do it. It's amazing. And you know what? Next week I'm gonna wear my Manscaped shirt. So we'll see what happens. But either way. Check it out on the way out. Everybody have a great evening. Have a great week. Have a great night. We'll see you all on the next show.
Thanks, guys. It's like, I didn't even have it on this overlay, but yeah, if you hit XNC as a promo code, you get 20% off. It's a pretty affordable thing, and the charge lasts forever. And you can use it in the shower. You can use it. Don't use it in the bathroom. You got to clean up afterwards. It's amazing. But